We have a new story this week, and it's called A House for Hermit Crab by Eric Carle. We know a lot of his stories, and we really like them a lot. And this is about a hermit crab. And hermit crabs live in the ocean, on the ocean floor, or in the rocky shore. They have hard skin, but their stomachs are very soft. And to protect their soft stomach, they borrow a shell. And when their shell gets too small, they have to go find a bigger one. Just like when you outgrow your shoes. And this hermit crab was a little bit nervous about going out of his shell where he was not protected and finding a new one. So let's see what happens. Time to move, said Hermit Crab one day in January. I've grown too big for my shell. So he stepped out of his shell, and he was a little bit afraid or scared. He was nervous. He thought somebody might try to hurt him. Then it was February, and Hermit Crab found the perfect shell. It was just the right size. But he thought, it's so plain. What can I do about it? In March, Hermit Crab came upon some sea anemones. Oh, they were so beautiful, waving softly in the water. You are so beautiful, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to come and live with me on my shell? I would, said a little sea anemone. So Hermit Crab carefully picked him up and put it on his shell. That was in March. In April, Hermit Crab saw a flock of sea stars. Oh, you are so handsome, he said. Would one of you like to come and live with me on my shell? I would, said the littlest sea star. So Hermit Crab picked him up carefully and put him on his shell. Then it was May, and Hermit Crab saw a group of coral. They were hard and they didn't move at all. How pretty you are, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to help make up my home more beautiful and handsome? I would, called a crusty coral. So very, very carefully, Hermit Crab used his claw and put the coral on his shell. Now it's June, and Hermit Crab saw some snails crawling along the ocean floor. They grazed as they went, and they picked up algae and little bits of debris that had fallen, and they left a nice, neat path behind them. Oh, how tidy and hard-working you are, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to come and help clean my house? I would, offered one of the snails. So Hermit Crab carefully picked him up and put him on his shell. So now he has the sea anemone and the sea star and the coral, and next he'll have a snail on there too. Now it's July, and Hermit Crab came upon several sea urchins. They had sharp, prickly spines on them. How fierce you look, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to come protect my home? I would, said one of the spiky sea urchins. So carefully, very carefully, Hermit Crab picked him up with his claw and put him on his shell. Now it's August, and Hermit Crab came to a huge kelp forest. It was so dark. It was a little scary. It was so dark, it was almost like nighttime. In September, Hermit Crab saw a school of lanternfish darting through the dark waters. "How bright you are," said Hermit Crab. "Would one of you be willing to come and light up my house?" "I would," said one lanternfish, and he swam over near the shell. In October, Hermit Crab saw a pile of smooth pebbles. A pebble is a little rock. "How sturdy you are," said Hermit Crab. "Would you mind if I rearranged you a little bit?" That means to move them around. "Not at all," said the pebbles. So Hermit Crab picked each pebble up and moved it one by one, and he built a beautiful wall around his shell. "Now my home is perfect," he said. He has so many friends that have been willing to help. But in November, Hermit Crab could feel that his shell was getting a bit too small. Over the year, Hermit Crab had grown, and soon he would need to find a new home. But he'd come to love his friends. They were like family to him. How could he leave them behind? They've been so good to me. What am I going to do? Thought Hermit Crab. In December, a smaller Hermit Crab came walking by without his shell. He said, "I have outgrown my shell. Would you know of a place for me?" Big Hermit Crab said, "I have outgrown my house too. I need to move on. You are welcome to live here, but you must promise to take good care of my friends." "I promise," said little Hermit Crab. The following January, Hermit Crab stepped out of his little shell, and little Crab moved in. He couldn't stay. "It was too small," said Hermit Crab, and he waved goodbye to his friends. The ocean floor looked wider than he had remembered. But Hermit Crab wasn't afraid. Soon he saw the perfect house, a big empty shell, but it looked, well, a little bit plain. Sponges, barnacles, clownfish, sand dollars, electric eels. So many possibilities. "I can't wait to get started," said Hermit Crab. And that is the end of our story about a little Hermit Crab who was afraid to change at first, but it worked out okay, and he met lots of friends along the way. So change can be okay. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.